Today we're doing some Joe Bonnamassa. The song Just Got Paid. You know, for those Bonamassa fans out there, you know, there's probably a ton of us. He's like a guitar god. You know, I mean, for blues and rock style guitar, I mean, the guy's just the man. As far as writing songs and singing them and playing guitar, he's like top notch in all categories. But I probably don't have to tell you guys that. The reason you're here is probably because you heard the song on one of his live albums. He's got a ton of albums, like 30-something albums, I think. But this one is kind of a song he plays all the time. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you the riffs for the song, and also some of the solo licks to kind of help you get like accustomed to how Bonamassa solos. Because, you know, he's got like a super unique style. He's got this kind of like really intense like picking style that's fast and really like powerful, but he's also got these like Eric Johnson style licks, you know, and he's got a bit of everything, you know. He's a blend of a lot of influences. So I'm going to show you some of his licks today, namely, of course, that intro lick that... That's the one we're going to be starting with. It's a real cool lick. It's an E blues pentatonic scale. Basically, the whole song is in like an E minor blues scale. So if you know your pentatonic, then you should be fine. You know, get accustomed to picking a lot because, you know, Joe Bonnamassa does have those fast little licks. So get ready for some riffing and some soloing. Alright guys, so we are into the beginning of Just Got Paid. This song starts with this kind of like E minor pentatonic riff, and it's like kind of like an open, it's got like a lot of open E strings in there, and he does a lot of downstrokes. And one thing I suggest is maybe take a look at the right hand, watch the right hand, because it's kind of overlooked a little bit by a lot of players, but whether or not you do like a lot of downstrokes, a lot of upstrokes, or a combination can really change how you phrase and how you feel things, and how you feel like certain riffs and licks. So One thing is that Joe uses a lot of downstrokes on this, so if you want to get as close to the original as you can, you want to take a look and try to mimic that, because even though you may be playing it with an alternate picking and it may be grooving and heavy and everything, it's still just a little bit off. The feel of a downstroke is just a little different than the feel of an upstroke, and you know, you can kind of hear it to a certain degree. So anyway, the riff sounds like this. It's an open E minor kind of a riff. It's and then it goes, repeats. But basically what we're doing is that we're starting with a hammer on from 5 to 7, D to E, and then the low E string that plays throughout this is always palm muted. And then after that hammer on, we play a G note on the 4th string, and then we kind of bounce back and forth between E, D, and E on the 5th string, all meanwhile including that palm muted low E in between all of them. And then after that, we pull off from low G on the 3rd fret back to E with our ring finger. And then a double palm mute before starting over. And that last little bit is just the riff, but without the low E palm muting. And then at the end, after the pull off from G, you hit harmonics on the 7th fret, 7th fret 1st string and 7th fret 5th string. And then that'll kind of ring out. So that's like and then the riff starts over basically. And that's pretty much like the main riff of the song. There are a couple other riffs that you'll hear in the verse. The verse starts with this and then the riff, that riff, right? But that first one that I just played with the power chords, really easy. It's just an E power chord to D power chord to A, and then the riff. And then what happens after that? That repeats one whole time. So you do this riff, the power chord, plus that riff, and then that repeats. And on the last time of that repeat, when we're doing the riff, after the pull off, we go. We climb down 7/5 E D B A, and then into like a G power chord, and then from there into an A power chord, and then back into the riff. So it sounds like. And there you you go, basically. It's really simple. The G, you climb down. When you're here, you can kind of mute the 5th string, so it's not really being played. And then the open D and G strings, let them ring. Or you can just... back into the riff. And that's basically pretty much all the riffs for the whole song. There's only 3 of them. It's really pretty simple. The hard stuff now comes in the licks and the solos. So let's get to the meat of the matter. We're headed there right now. Hey guys, alright. So I kind of tricked you a little bit when I signed off there on the last video. There are a few other riffs. Well, there's basically one more riff, and it's just repeated different places around the neck before we get into the solo. So I'm just gonna teach you that a little bit before we get into the solo, just to get our little fingers warmed up for the second section, because we go into the solo from this riff, and the riff sounds like this. And that's basically the same riff that moves up 2 other times. And what we're doing, we're sliding, we move now from E minor to A minor. And we're taking the 2 middle strings, the D and the G, and we're playing 5th fret underneath a bar. And we're sliding up to 7th and back. And then we're doing that kind of downstroke palm mute on the low string, but we're playing it with our thumb up here and palm muting that. And then that last note, those 2 notes are basically just barring 5th and 4th string on the 7th fret. And then G, A, 4th string, and repeat. This time it ends there, and then that whole thing repeats. Does the same thing now. We move everything up a whole step. So now we're playing in B minor. And then we move up to E, to the 12th fret. But before we do, there's a little... We're climbing down, when we're in B, the riff is 2 measures long, so... That right there is 2 measures. So we repeat that again, and then the 4th measure, the 2nd bar of that repeat, we cut out and we replace with this climb down, from 7 down to 5, and then 6 down to 5. Open D string, and then 5th fret, 4th string. And then we move to the riff on E. And so the only difference between this riff now is we include a little open string kind of snap in there. You know, that gotta be in there. And then right at the end of that riff, it repeats in the 4th bar. We only play the first half of it. That's it. And then we go into the solo, which now I promise The next video is actually going to be the solo. So stick around, you're going to learn some licks coming up right now. Okay guys, so here we are into the beginning of the solo. We come out of that riff, that E minor riff. With that lick. And what we're doing, we're climbing up this E minor pentatonic lick, where we're bending 14th fret A, and then barring 12th fret and getting both of those notes. And then the downbeat is that high E again. So it's a little weird. So it's bump, 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 da, down. And then the downbeat, high E, B right below it, and then 15th fret D. Bend up to an E. And then the next part, this part now, we're doing the same little move, bending from E to B, but now we're playing C sharp on the 14th fret second string and then bending a half step up. And then hitting it at the top of the bend and releasing. And then playing 12th fret. So, and then climb down A to G. And then back up to this 14th fret bend. And then after we do that bend from the C sharp, we play F sharp first string, 12th fret E. So climb down F sharp, E, D, B, and then 14th fret A, C sharp, and then 12G, 12B, 12G, 14E. So real slow that whole lick. Right there. And if you put all that together, kind of at tempo, sounds like this. And now, going into the next lick, we're kind of staying in that 12th fret pentatonic position, but now we're going to get involved in a little bit of string skipping, so don't go anywhere. Okay. So the next lick I'm going to show you basically is also an E minor pentatonic lick, but this one utilizes some string skipping. So this is what it sounds like. So it's kind of two phrases in one, but what we're doing, we're building up to this high F sharp. And what we're doing, we're climbing up, the little pickup is an A note, 12th fret. And then we play B, 14th. And then we're sticking on that B note as kind of like a pedal tone. And the notes in between are D, 12th fret, G 12th fret, and then A 14th fret, and then B 12th fret again up here. So. And then when you hit that B, I suggest getting it like underneath a bar right here, because the next note is a G right below it on the 12th fret. I'm sorry. And then we're climbing up our pentatonic, G, A, B, D, and then we hit F sharp. So that sounds like. And then this next part, we're doing kind of a similar thing to what we just did. We're now keeping this B as every other note. So now we're playing B 12th fret, and then 14th fret, and then 15th fret 2nd string, and then 1st string 12th fret. And then we're taking the 17th fret, A, bending it up to B, and then bringing it back down. So those two phrases put together slowly, you can kind of hear back to back how that B plays like a really important role. So when you analyze this, think about him using this as a way to build up, to tonicize that B, makes the F sharp stand out really nicely because it's a fifth away from it. And then the next part, we're doing the same thing, hitting the B every other time, and now we're basically ending on A. So we're finishing our first phrase on F sharp as our target note, the second phrase ending on A as our target note. So you can kind of see he's not picking notes out of the E minor chord. You know, he's picking these extra notes to help give character and, you know, some personality to his phrases. So that's kind of like the way he goes about like building his phrases. He thinks about it and hears it very musically, and it happens really, really fast, which is the impressive part. But if you can kind of understand and analyze these licks and see how they fit under your fingers, they fit really nicely and naturally, and the more you do them, the more you begin to kind of soak up his style of playing. So work with these, and there's more headed your way. Okay, so that is the new lick that we're about to do. Another one of these fast Joe Bonnamassa E minor type licks. Really kind of like influenced by Eric Johnson a lot. So they share that same type of style. You know, it's a little, I want to say a little bit more modern sound using the pentatonic. You know, it's not necessarily that super classic Stevie Ray Vaughan use. It's a bit more modern. A lot of it is plucked with some hammer-ons, pull-offs and such, but they utilize intervals a little bit differently than, you know, your standard classic rock player. But I'll break down the lick basically. What we do, we start with this. And we're starting high E. And we're just kind of playing with those first two strings, E, D, B, G. And then we bar high E and B, and then bend the D to E. And then as we approach the E with the bend, we replace it with the actual E on high, on first string 12th fret. And then we do a quick little up and down sort of bend release on C sharp, second string right here. So it's like and from there, we do this kind of climb down lick. And that lick sounds like that. And so we get into it from this. And it's basically real kind of like a standard pattern, actually. What we're doing is basically, it's like skipping one, going back and getting the one you skipped. So if you were going to go all the way down the scale, you're going to basically skip one, go back and get it. And then when we get back to this A right here, we're going to bend it and then bounce back and forth between B and E. And then a quick bend and replace it with the high E. So really slowly, that whole thing. So if I were to play it with the lick real slow, I mean with the intro lick to that, it sounds like this. Sorry, let's start that over one more time. There we go. It's kind of hard to do slow, you know, once you get it up to speed, it's a little harder to slow it down. But anyway, that's kind of the main idea, and the thing you want to take away from that is this. And you could do that anywhere. You know, you can fit it in all over the place. And it'll always, you know, lead you somewhere. You can also, of course, do the reverse. And climb up that way, you know. But you should try to pull little ideas out of this lick, because, or out of all of his licks, because there's really something super useful that we can snag as guitar players from pretty much everything he plays. So one more of these fast ones coming up, and then we'll kind of change pace for a minute. Okay, so this next lick is basically a really fast one with a lot of picking involved. So I'll play it. It's short, but it's pretty fast and complex. So I'll play it at like a medium tempo, and then I'll break it down for you. So it's like and we're basically just staying in this like E pentatonic in our box, but we're doing a lot of these kind of added notes, maybe the C sharp, maybe the F sharp type of thing. So we're starting, and I'm going to do it in groups of 6 notes because it makes a little more sense in groups of 6. So we're starting with 12. And that's the first group. So 12, 15, 12. And then bend on the 14th fret really quick. And then climb up. And then after that, we go right to this. Here now we're playing on the G first string. and then pulling off F sharp to E on the first string. And then we're playing D on the second string, and then picking F sharp to E. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. There we go. So those two put together. And now we're bouncing just back and forth between D and B, and then E, D, B. So all of that now. And now the next part. We're just climbing up, A, B, D, E, D, B. And then climbing down, continuing climbing down, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, and then 15 on the low 6th string, and then finishing on A. So a lot of stuff there. Let me do it really slowly all the way through, just those like those sextuplet sounds. Now the idea with this is to really practice in bursts and practice just like I taught you, like the 6 notes at a time. Just make sure you can get that lick, and then add the first one of the next. And then add like maybe the next couple. And then you can just always add the next one that starts the next lick, and that'll always kind of like make sure you get there in time. And if you can get there in time, then you can continue the rest of the lick in time. And then sky's the limit. It's just a matter of practicing really slowly with the metronome until you get that really fast picking speed. Like that is a really quick move that you need to be able to do. So it's like an up, down, up, down. And that's a really like kind of Joe Bonnamassa picking style technique. So work with these fast licks. There's another riff and like kind of a little mellower type, not solo, but little guitar-y interlude thing coming your way. So stick around. Okay, so here we are, kind of at the end of the lesson here with a couple wind down licks, I like to call them. We're starting with that first little riff that you heard in the little example there. And what's happening? Real simple. We're just playing an open E, pulling off from a G to an E, and then playing an E 4th string. And then we play this kind of, we're basically playing like a D chord, but without the top string, without the high E string. So we're playing open A, open D, A, 2nd fret, D, 3rd fret. goes, kind of drops down into this like little mellower part. And that starts with just like an open E, and it like kind of simmers for a second while the bass and drums kick in. And then we play that. Where we're playing basically, these are all going to be double stops. And this kind of thing is really Eric Johnson-y, right? You know, using these kind of double stops to create melodies. And we're playing an E and a G, and then a D and an F sharp. And then we drop down, and then we're playing as our melody. So we're playing F sharp and D, and then we jump up to G and E, E and B, and then D and F sharp again. So that's like... Now if you notice, that's all basically going back and forth between like an E, or it's basically just an E minor 9 chord. That's the chord. Right? And it's really kind of haunting and ghostly. And you know, if you can kind of capture this style of playing where you're using intervals and melodies, it's really hugely useful. And then from there, we're playing open B and then high G. Well, not high G, but G on the first string. And then while the B is ringing, we play B first string and then A first string. And then we jump up to an A and a C sharp, 10th and 9th fret, and then like a mini power chord between E and B, 9th fret and 12th fret. So, right like that. And then from there, playing D and F sharp on the first and third strings, and then D and F sharp way up here, first and second strings, 15 and 14, back here, and then C sharp and E, and D and B. Repeat. Now you continue the climb down. So then you go C sharp A, B and G, A and F sharp, and then on adjacent strings here, B and D, sliding into C sharp and E. And then we finish with kind of an E and B going to a D. And then we climb up basically an E power chord. E, B, E, E. Real simple. 2, 4, 5, open. And then here we have B and G, and then we jump up to 12th fret, 2nd and 4th string, and we drop the 2nd string down 2 frets, and then we do the same thing 2 frets higher. So basically like that. And the very end, we're just climbing up the pentatonic from A. And then kind of a thing. So all that put together. And then it goes into, like, you know, a bunch of other stuff, right? But these are all kind of licks that you can use and ideas that you can kind of, you know, steal or borrow, if you will, you know, and use to make your own playing way more interesting and vibrant, you know, because if you listen to him, it always sounds like he's playing the right thing no matter what he's doing. And even if he makes a mistake, you can tell sometimes maybe you can tell he made a mistake, but then he corrects it right away and makes it sound awesome. And so the thing you want to do is try to get as many of these little, like, tricks or ideas, playing notes, double stops, you know, melodies. And seeing what you can do with that mixed in with, you know, this kind of, like, fast Joe Bonnamassa stuff as well, and make your own little blend so that you can kind of help make yourself stand out as a guitar player. Because, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of us, and he's definitely at the top. So if you're going to emulate somebody, emulate the guy at the top. Alright? Have fun, and don't forget, play all this stuff with a metronome, because timing, timing is everything. You know, with everything in life. Especially music, and especially Joe Bonnamassa's music.